We are now recording. And there we go. All right, so the two things we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the open topic speech next week. And then we're going to talk about the surprise quiz, which will be next week.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah, trust me, some people will be surprised. So the open topic speech, deliver it to Dropbox on Tuesday. And if you want to watch the student speeches, you can, but you're not required to. It's probably a good idea, but you've seen a lot of speeches, so I think you know how to analyze a speech. And maybe it would be a good thing to see other speakers because, maybe if a good speaker struggles, you'll feel better because, well, I'm struggling they're struggling. Or maybe you'll look and you'll say, well, look at how this person did, how this person adapted to this type of speaking. Maybe I should try that trick. So you want to do that. But you want to basically, the open topic speech, as I said before, it's a well-structured speech. It's a well-rehearsed speech. And it's on any topic you want. It's any type of speech you want. It's 6 minutes long. And by that, I mean to fit inside the 3 to 9 minute window. So look for 6. And it's just basically your best speech. You know who the audience is. And you want to basically think to yourself, this is what I would like to share.
How many minutes long?
It's 3 to 9. And when I say 3 to 9, I mean 6. So shoot for 6, and you can be on one side. There's a lot of room on both sides. Good? Good. All right. One of the advantages and the disadvantages we were talking about, there's no public in public speaking. So all of a sudden you've been doing these live speeches and now all of a sudden you're speaking to an empty room. So that's a disadvantage. The advantage is that you can do it again and again and again and again and again. And eventually you'll get something that is at least palatable to you. So I think you'll all do a good job. Another thing to keep in mind, keep the light coming onto your face and not coming from behind you. Justine, do you notice how if you look at yourself, you get that light coming into the window? Yes. If you can eliminate that, that's great. That's one way. I know we had somebody in another class. Nobody here's got this issue that I've noticed. But some people in other classes, there's no light in the front of them, so you get a silhouette, and you can't see any of their features. So when you do your video, your open topics, be sure your face is lit and the back is not shining at the camera. So those are the big things for the open topic. Now, what I want you to do on Tuesday is put it into Dropbox. I'll have a couple of things on Blackboard. Every time I put something on Blackboard, there's an email that goes out to you. So make sure you pay attention to your emails and respond to Blackboard. We're going to have a surprise quiz. And here's what's going to be on the surprise quiz. I'm going to ask about the speeches that you recorded earlier in the semester, the demonstration speeches. And I'm going to say things like, what did you do well? And what did you do poorly? And you're going to have to, or I think I don't say what did you do poorly. I say if you gave it again, what would you change? So think about multiple things that you did well. Here's what I won't accept. I won't accept I'm ugly. I won't accept I'm fat. What did you see in the video? What did you see in the video? I saw that I'm ugly. That's really not helpful. I don't want to hear, what did you do well? Nothing. I want you to analyze yourself honestly and dispassionately and, basically say, hey, my volume was good. My organization was good. Whatever you think was good, be honest about it and think about more than one thing. I'll be looking for multiple things. John Briscoe, if you're asked to analyze an audience, I'm sorry, you're not asked. When you analyze an audience, when do you analyze the audience?
When do you analyze the audience?
What's that?
Well, usually you need to know your audience before you start speaking.
Keep going. Keep going. Earlier.
You analyze them while you're.
What's that?
Yeah, before you even write the speech, you need to know who you're talking to.
Right. before you write the speech is the key. You have to know who you're talking to. It's a good idea to know what your purpose of your speech is too. If I'm talking about rescue dogs, for example, do I want to talk about, am I trying to get you to rescue, or am I just trying to give you some understanding of the process? Am I trying to give you an understanding of of what they are, just so you'll know? Or am I trying to get you tell you what they are because you're interested, and I'm just trying to walk you through the steps of finding a rescue dog? Or am I trying to convince you to adopt a rescue dog? So you want to understand what the purpose of your speech is, and you want to analyze your audience to understand who you're talking to. And you do this, what I say, the answers that I accept are when they first call you to do the speech. If I said to you, John, hey, I'd like you to come into to talk to some people in school at a school group, you'd want to know why. You'd want to know who they are. There's a difference, Mike. Am I safe to say there's a difference between veterans, students who are U.S. military veterans at Northern Essex, and the traditional student?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are subtle, and some of them are not so subtle.
I'm
And
not subtle at all.
okay, how about men to women? I know we're all the same. We're all the same. We're all equal.
Jesus, Murphy.
But are there differences sometimes if
Yep.
you were going to talk to a group of all male and all female? Am I correct to say if it's a mixed group, would I talk differently? A little bit? I might. It depends on the topic.
Yeah.
It really depends on the topic and the situation. It's sort of like religion never plays into anything unless, you're talking to about birth control and a women's reproductive system, and it's the group of Catholic mothers. You talk differently to a group of, if you were talking about women's with the female reproduction.
Why do we need to use this example?
It's an easy one. That's why I use it, because it's such an easy one, because you get so many stark differences in the way you'd approach the audience. If you were teaching female reproduction and you were talking to a bunch of middle school students, you'd take one approach. High school students, college students, another approach, and their mothers, a completely different approach. If I'm talking about, let's see, if I'm talking to engineers versus engineering students, there's a pretty big difference. It might be the same topic, but I'd take a slightly different, I'd take a different approach for both of them. So this is why you establish who your audience, you analyze your audience to establish who they are. And when you get, and the factors, there are many, many, many factors. A lot of them are things that you just disregard totally, or they're just not important. Like, for example, what ethnicity are they? All right, or what race are they? It would be good to, it might be good to know, but there might be like, it's mixed race, or there are an entire room of Norwegians. You'd want to know that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just because you might have something in there that you want to make sure it's going to relate to Norwegians. When I was in Ireland, I was doing shows in Ireland, and they didn't get certain references because the slang was different and our terms for things were different. And so as the week went on, we learned what not to say and what we could say, and we changed things to like the why. I have a joke about the why. In Ireland, they're called leisure centers. So I figured out pretty quickly that I could call it leisure centers, and they would know what I was talking about. There's actually a Seinfeld where Seinfeld's playing in London, and he basically has the same problem, and he just drives around town and figures out all the slang, and he switches up the slang in the terminology, in the names. So a lot of things they're not that important until they become important. So, but you want to know as much about them as you can. Are they, what's the purpose for them being there? How much experience with your topic do they have? What their education level is, what their economic level is. If you're out seeking money, it's good to know that your audience, or it's important to know which audience you're speaking to. Are you speaking to the audience that's going to donate, or are you speaking to the audience that needs the money? So a lot of things like that, but there are a lot of factors. So there might be a question that asks, what do you look for when you analyze an audience? And your answer was, what's the number one thing? Experience with the subject. What's the number one? Well, 1A is why are they there? What's their purpose in being there? And then you've got all the other demographic factors like income, geography, race and ethnicity, age. Allison, have you noticed a difference between people your age and old people like me or John Briscoe, who are pretty much just ready to turn to dust? So all of those things are factors. We'll be looking for establishing credibility up front. This is in your introduction. What are the two things you do for an introduction? You try to establish your credibility, and you're also trying to interest the audience in the subject that you're going to talk about. You're trying to get the interest in your speech and a reason to listen to you. And so the question you're trying to answer in the audience's mind is, why should I listen to this person about this subject? And for a lot of you as a study guide, I think that if you throw a swear word in the middle of that sentence, why should I listen to this person on this subject? It's a good study guide. It's easier to remember. I think I might have told you this, that I had a buddy who went to an investment seminar, and he parks his car and he sees another guy parking a car, and the other guy's got this old beat up car. And sure enough, that guy's the teacher. And my friend didn't stay because the guy had lost credibility in the parking lot. I think a lot of real estate agents have really nice cars. And the reason one of the practical reasons for having a nice car if you're a real estate agent is people get into your car to go from house to house a lot of the time. So you want to project a certain image. Not in all cases, but I see a lot of it, and I'm pretty sure this is the reason why. So why do you establish your credibility? To get the audience to buy into what you're saying. Because if you don't have credibility, they're not going to care. We always want you to be honest, and we also want you to also keep in mind that the other thing about credibility is it's credibility from where you stand. So it also gets into point of view. What's the summary conclusion? John H.
Summary conclusion?
Yep.
You just seamlessly wrap everything up you just said.
Okay. So you just repeat everything?
Yeah.
Huh?
Not exactly. You kind of like with the baseball thing, hitting a baseball. You just kind of go through the steps again real quick.
Okay, so you're basically saying you summarize by taking the main point.
I didn't want to use summarize in the definition of summary.
Kind of like a recap.
All right. Ethos, pathos, and logos. Should I just throw that to Justine? Because I know none of you know what it is except her.
I wrote it down when we went over it.
All right, so it goes to Aristotle's three means of persuasion, or three modes of persuasion. And its ethos is goodness. And by goodness, what do I mean by goodness?
Credibility, likability.
And
Likability.
you got two of the three: credibility, likability.
And
Availability.
What was it? What was it, John? Likability.
Availability.
What is it?
He's
Let's
not.
see.
I keep talking over you. I keep talking over your answer.
Ethos. Which is it?
believability.
No, trustworthiness. Trustworthiness. Those are the three that they mentioned. Credibility. I think believability, trustworthiness. That kind of makes sense. That kind of goes hand in cousins. But it's trustworthiness, likability, and credibility. And again, if I don't like you, I might not want to do business. I might not want to do what you say. I might not want to vote for you. I'm more likely to vote for you, do business with you, et cetera, if I like you. But if I don't think you're credible, if I think you're a really nice guy, John, who can't get anything done, then I'm less likely to work with you than I am if I think of you as competent, as you clearly are. And so that's ethos, and that has to do usually with the speaker. Pathos is the emotional component, which is what you say and how you say it. And the idea of it is that we can't be moved to do something if we don't care about it. And the only way, or the best way to get us to care about it, is for you to care about it and express to us how you feel about it. So that one is the emotional component. And finally, there's logos, Logos. If you look at that, you might even see the word logic somewhere in there. And that has to do with reasoning. And this is something I do in business communication. They say the number one thing is you've got to have good reasoning. And I say you need all three, but certainly good reasoning is a big part of any kind of effective speaking, whether it's persuasive or it isn't persuasive. And that reasoning has got to be, is simply put, we have a problem. This is why it's a problem. This is how bad of a problem it is. This is how we want to fix it. I'm going to build my argument on this. And every argument either builds on the next one or relates to the next one. So ethos is ethos is goodness. And I keep saying goodness. Why do I keep saying goodness, Allison?
Because it's important.
It's important. And
You
why
don't know
is
any
it,
other words.
what's that?
You can't think of any
You think so?
synonyms.
Oh, wait.
Because it's a word that you're gonna see on a quiz.
Ethos is like ethics. So like, you want it to be good, I guess.
It's the answer, as John points out, is it's important because it's on the quiz. So
Okay.
it's goodness, and then you would break goodness into break it down into these three things, and that's the way I want you to think about it.
Right. Credibility, likability, and trustworthiness.
Very good, very good. And what are
Beautiful.
those three put together? What are they? Carly, look at me. Don't look down.
Goodness.
Huh? Goodness. Very good.
Goodness.
And what's the word that Aristotle would use?
Ethos.
Very good. People get ethos and pathos confused a lot. Less so logos, but they get ethos and pathos confused. So don't get confused on that. Now the sheet that I give you after every speech, or almost every speech, that says things like posture, gestures, eye contact. What do those words mean? What is eye
Constructive
contact?
criticism.
What's that?
Constructive criticism.
Oh, you're going way too far with that. What do the words eye contact mean, Thanasi? Eye contact.
I wasn't looking at like this. I wasn't paying, I don't know. I wasn't looking at the right places.
No, it's not that you weren't looking at them. Eye contact, just eye
Body
contact.
language.
I just say, what's that?
Instruction.
Body language.
Well, what about it?
Your eyes speak volumes.
Simple thing is, how about, all right, so eye contact is eye contact. Do you look in the other person's eyes? Are you making contact with the person through your eyes? What does posture mean? Ish. You're muted. Yeah,
Sorry.
he's on mute. You look like you were yelling at the screen. Like,
No, I
speak
wasn't.
louder. What do we? Go ahead.
Your posture is like body language and how the room reads you. If you're slouching over, you're going to seem lazy and uninterested versus,
Yeah, posture is part of body language. It's how you hold your body. It's how you hold your body. And what we recommend is we want you to stand straight and not be distracting.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I'm up here and it might be distracting. But if I'm standing straight and tall and I'm talking to you, then that's good posture because I'm just not taking away from anything I'm saying. And of course, then you could argue I'm projecting confidence, I'm projecting this, I'm projecting whatever I'm projecting. But that's what posture is. So that's why posture is important. Why is eye contact important? in a speech-ish.
It makes
Want it to
people
feel personal
like
when you're
paying
talking to somebody.
attention to them.
I'm sorry, hold on. Ish, go ahead.
You want your conversation or whatever you're saying, you want it to feel personal when you're talking to somebody. So you want to feel connected, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. You want them to know you care about what you're saying. You care about what they think. How about, here's one. It's similar to posture and similar to what Thanasi said about eye contact. Volume. We think of volume and most people think it's being loud. But the word volume, we're really talking about loud and soft. It's just like the knob. Like some people, when we say your volume, if I say your volume is not good, Allison, do I mean you're too soft or do I mean you're too loud? And just any person. If I said to somebody afterwards, your volume is, you've got to work on your volume. Does that mean they're too soft or they're too loud?
I'd say too soft.
Usually it means they're too soft, but really it can mean either. I mean, if I just say the words, I mean,
Question.
if we've heard the speech and somebody is just blasting out words, and I say your volume is a problem, we would all understand that it's too loud. But volume is how loud or soft. One thing that people sometimes make mistake about is rate and pitch. Pitch is kind of the pitch of your voice, whereas rate is the speed at which you speak. And if I speak at one speed and I just go that one speed and I just say that one speed and I just go, I don't have much vocal variety. And maybe I'm kind of a runaway train as a speaker if my rate is too fast. But it's different than pitch. Pitch is more like notes on a scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. One thing that comes up that'll be on the quiz will be verbalized and vocalized pauses. Charlotte, what are those?
Sorry, what do you say?
Vocalized pauses.
So like when you pause, but like you take a break?
Almost. It's when you pause, but instead of letting the silence sit there, you fill it up with a sound or a word like, because, and it's a habit a lot of us get into. I know I have it. I have something I'm going to post for you. In fact, I was going to post it for you now, but I'm going to hold off on it till next week because I don't want to confuse anybody. So I want to do it after you do the open topic speeches. But I've done a couple of these where I've done some speeches and I videotaped them, online presentations. I videotaped them, and they're just horrible. They're going to make you all feel so confident. But I've got a stammering issue and I've got a verbalized, vocalized pause issue. And I'm always trying to combat it. But like Bill Belichick, I'm not always winning the war. But a vocalized or a verbalized pause is when somebody throws in an utterance. Sometimes it's a word. Sometimes it's a perpetual, sometimes it's like because, like, it's a habit. Sometimes it's a habitual thing where you're just throwing it in. Sometimes it's just a noise. Again, to look at Belichick, the number of times he says, he does it quite often. So that's what a verbalized or a vocalized pause is. Enunciation, pronunciation, what's that, John?
Pronunciation?
Yeah.
The way words are said.
How about enunciation?
The way you enunciate.
Which is what?
Don't Google it, you.
I'm not.
I hear your keyboard going.
He's
It's
binging
the
it.
announcement of the No, that's a religious definition.
Enunciation is just like when you're just speaking clearly. And
Yeah. Good enunciation is speaking clearly. Poor enunciation is having
mumbling.
yes, mumbling or slurring some words together or just not pronouncing your words clearly. So what you want to do is you want to take a look at your sheet. If you don't have it, it's on the back of the syllabus. If you don't have the back of the syllabus, then you can go to Blackboard and find the syllabus is posted there. But I want you to know what those words mean, and I want you to know what their importance is in speaking.
Hey, I got the
Hey,
camera
he's
to work.
back.
How
He's
you doing?
back.
So that's
Good.
really all that's all we've got for the surprise quiz. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's establishing credibility. There is ethos, pathos, and logos. There's watching yourself on your videos from your demonstration speeches, and there's knowing the terms of on the sheet that I give you at the end of every speech. And there's vocal variety. I'm sorry, not vocal variety. Verbalized pauses. Sorry, Charlotte. That's basically what's going to be on the quiz. Let's see. I said establishing authority. I said audience analysis. Yeah, I think I get everything. Ethos, pathos, and logos. So that'll be on the surprise quiz. I probably won't do the surprise quiz until after Tuesday. But on Tuesday, you're going to turn in your open topics. We won't have class. And on during the week, I will I'll post a few things on Blackboard, including the quiz. You'll have to do it. So basically look at your email for next week and respond when asked to. Is that good for one and all?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So we won't have class next week?
Well, you won't have class like at a certain time, but you'll have work next week. Just look at at Blackboard and just do, I'm going to have some things that I'm going to post that I want you to watch, and I'm going to have a few other things that I'm going to want you to do. But basically, it'll just be gearing up for the next finishing your assignment, your open topic assignment, and then gearing up for the next one. If you want to watch other people's speeches for their open topic, you may, but you don't really have to. Good?
When is the open topic one due?
The open
Next
topic one
Tuesday.
is due on Tuesday.
Gotcha.
All right, and I've got to clear out the Dropbox folder, so I'll get that cleared out by Saturday or Sunday.
Did you already watch most of the other videos?
I watched a few of them. But not as many as I'd like. I've spent a lot of time the last couple of weeks just answering individual emails from students, from people from the school. It's really kind of a mess what's going on right now, and we're all just trying our best. I know a lot of you guys. A lot of students, it seems, are working. The ones who work at grocery stores are being called into work. Obviously,
That's
Justin
me.
works at the hospital, so he's on. Why do they change your hours, Justin?
But I can't really talk about what's going on.
All right. Well, could you? All right.
Holy moly.
People have had their hours changed. So people who were available to go to class are all of a sudden they're being called into work, and I think they're doing it.
That's what happens to me because I work at a grocery store, and it's just like they totally forgot I had class the other day. So they scheduled me 12 to 7.
Now, why are they changing the schedules?
They need help so bad. Like I know my grocery store, like half of the people that work there say they don't want to work right now because of what's happening.
Yeah.
So they're using everyone they can.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a mess. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
I'm a supervisor at CVS, and we have so many people who are just in and out. A lot of people are getting called out sick. 2 of my supervisors, actually, they're one of them is going to work at a testing facility, so I have to pick up her hours. And then another one who's coming back from maternity leave, her husband has it, so she can't go to work anymore. So I have to pick up her hours as well.
She's on maternity leave?
Yeah, or she was coming back from maternity leave.
She's just, so she got a little small baby in the house and she's got a husband with COVID-19?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And
a lot of people at my work, we haven't had a case, but anyone who calls in with flu symptoms, they make them stay home for 14 days. So we don't have we're losing so many people.
It's
they make me staying home for 10 days.
And the people who there are people who are losing their jobs, and so they're worried about that. There are people, like I said, who aren't sleeping, who day becomes night, night becomes day. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's going on. One thing I think is happening is that a lot of students, they're getting disconnected from class. And you don't want to be disconnected from class, mostly because you've come so far, you're all going to get really good grades, so just keep coming to class. And I think that's true across the board. I mean, just, anyway, let me state.
I'll raise my hand for that one. I'll throw myself under the bridge. I fall under that.